That's where you can find me. We can change the future, you know. That's what you remind me.
Came from a broken home. I've seen so many people go. Learn to make it on my own. It's easier for me to be alone. So how are you? Keep cutting through, claiming you're not like the other guys. And only if I could give you a chance, show me that you mean it. We'll feel some type of way.
Welcome friends to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. Welcome to our coverage of the NECC Collegiate Valorant regular season. Each match getting us closer to the playoffs and hopefully a championship. Boise State, we've got 2 squads in the top division of Valorant for the NECC, so you never know. Might be a championship coming our way. My name is Riley Nappy Boyd. I am joined by Jared Baratel Castiglione. Yes? Yes?
That's me.
There we go.
It is me.
There we go. He warned me his last name was confusing, but we got it.
He did it. First try.
It was luck. It was luck. Well, we may not see it tonight, but Astra has been added to the game, Baratel. How are you feeling that she's going to impact this game for our Broncos?
It's interesting because, you know, even across the board, a lot of people are still trying to figure her out. She's not being played a lot in kind of the higher ranked, as I was talking to some of my high ranked friends. And I think for good reason, because she has such a different play style, a huge kind of marionette that she holds on the whole map, and she pulls whatever strings she wants to at any given point. I just think it's going to be a matter of time for people to figure her out. The potential, limitless. Galaxy brain will be required to play her expertly, though. No pun intended.
I like, you know what? I like the pun. Voiceless and I were talking about that last week, and we both agree the skill cap is up there, but I know for a fact that when you said you were talking to your higher ranked friends, that does not include myself, because let's just say I won't be playing Astra anytime soon. I'll stick to my ciphers. That will definitely be the case. Well, hey, speaking of our favorite agents, I believe here coming up, we're going to have a tier list to talk about. But first, let's talk about some of the rules. This is the Valorant NECC League. It's a 9-week series with 30-plus teams. It's best of 3 in these matchups. Each team we set the maps each week. The home team picks which side they want, so attacking or defending for the first and third map, whereas the away team gets to pick for the second map. Both Broncos squads are super highly ranked this year. It's been really fun to watch these guys. There's one side in the top 2 or 3. The second side is in the top 10. So you see here in the Champions Division, Boise State 1 and 2. We are going to be playing Florida Atlantic tonight, and this is Boise State 2 versus Florida Atlantic. And tell you what, it's been kind of an interesting season for these guys, Baratel. I would say. I think you might have a little bit better of a handle on some of the other teams that we've seen this year than me. Obviously, I've just joined. What do you see in these divisions for the Broncos, and what's their chances of winning? Well,
it's interesting that you mentioned that because, you know, as you had mentioned, Voices and you having conversations, we do always like to talk about how things are kind of looking in other brackets, because despite Boise State being at the top tier, that doesn't mean that any of the ones, the contenders, you know, anything below that, are not going to be contenders specifically. And we've seen tremendous work come out from other games, from some of the schools there on the other, schools on the other lists. That just means that we have to continue to look out for opportunities to continue to learn from them and respect them as opponents.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, I mean, you can never discount anything. It's collegiate Valorant. It is a matter of anything could happen on any given day, and I don't know. I from what I've seen, I haven't got a chance to check out this Boise Boise State 2 squad very much. I know the Boise State 1 squad is really aggressive. And so maybe you can kind of give our viewers a little bit of a rundown for those who might have, it's been a week or two since we've seen this Boise State 2 side. What do you think about this side specifically?
I think in the infancy of this game being kind of introduced to the Boise State roster, if you will, both these squads did a phenomenal amount of work together. They learned from each other in a way that a lot of our programs like to do. We have a lot of rosters for Overwatch, for League of Legends, and both those teams compete in their own individual way, but they all contribute to the same wealth of knowledge that they can benefit from. So if aggression is the name of the game for the Boise State number 1 squad, if you will, Team 1, Team 2 is going to try and follow that, I think, the best way that they can.
Gotcha. Well, hey, before continuing tonight, as I mentioned, Doc has asked both of us to put together our agent tier list. We're going to see how we agree, or maybe not so much. It's going to be interesting. So we haven't seen each other's tier lists. You had warned me that yours was maybe a little bit of a...
It's unconventional is what we'll call it.
There we go. I like that. So I know for me personally, I put this together of lists of agents that... for mine, it's a combination of what I would like to learn / what I absolutely hate to see when I'm playing against. I don't know. Tell us about yours a little bit.
Well, it's evident Sky's number 1. I mean, if I could have made another tier above S, I would have, just for Sky and call it Sky tier. The remaining agents, I think that they have a lot of strength within their roles. You have, of course, Jet there, Cypher with the scouting, Reyna and everything, and then just based off of playability, I think despite how much I favor, Viper as well as Omen and Sage, it's tough for me to put them at the higher levels of play. And keep in mind, the moment that we start seeing Sky being played on every team, I called it first.
You did. I do actually remember you talking about that in a broadcast, I think. And I have heard rumors of your infatuation with the Sky agent. It is very frustrating to play against.
It is. I'm glad that we picked Sova at the same tier, though. I think that's the only... Oh, and the Jet as well. So we can agree upon some things.
Yeah, and I do think it's interesting that neither of us really have like a super aggressive... our duelists are fairly high on the list, I do think that makes a lot of sense because it's so popular with these aggressive teams. Having those good duelists is so popular. Well, I think it might be about time to hop into this match. We're going to be seeing Boise State taking on Florida Atlantic like we talked about. And as we kind of get ready to jump into this, we talked about this aggression. As we talked about, this is Boise State and FAU in the Valorant NECC League. FAU being Florida Atlantic, for those of you who do not know. This should be a pretty interesting game, I think. I'm pretty excited to see kind of, how these teams handle, and we are on the patch new enough to get Astra in the game, it looks like.
Interesting. So maybe it's starting to be something that, maybe some exploration since she came out. I know that pretty much any streamer that would ever play Valorant on stream had been practicing her for hours on end when she came out on the public test realm, if you will. And that could have contributed to a lot more information than maybe would have been easily accessible. Normally, in the past, maybe competitive games, you kind of had to figure out your own stuff. But now that they have, the streaming platforms available, a lot of people are able to use that to their benefit to get some information that maybe they didn't think about at first.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. It doesn't look like we saw FAU for a moment there teasing Astra. It doesn't look like it's going to come through. Boise State and FAU just kind of building their teams here as we take a look. Some aggressive plays on both sides coming through for both of these teams, I love to see the Cypher going in there. I don't think he gets utilized enough. I love using him to stop the flank, seeing as that's about all I'm good at personally, so it's nice to see that.
Well, it's always a question, right? When it comes to the success for the first roster for Boise State. Their aggression is something that is enabled by how much information they gather before making an informed decision.
Right.
And what better agent to represent a huge boon in surveillance, in scouting potential, also getting that information, than that Cypher.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to be an interesting pick for this Boise State team. I'm looking forward to seeing how he starts off. We see this first pistol round here. Watching the Boise State 1 team last week, they didn't win many pistol rounds. So I think that that's going to be a key for this Boise State 2 team to see if they can maybe turn that tide and get some pistol rounds on the board and take advantage of those rounds early.
What? It just turned off.
Looks like we're having some technical difficulties here on the desk. But while we get those figured out, you see Boise State going to be hanging out here. You see Van Hurgar, he's going to be watching in mid-market, looking to see if there's a push there. He's got his smoke down. Just waiting to see if anyone wants to get aggressive through the smoke for FAU. Just really patient here. No one's getting real aggressive. There's the Raise utility coming through, and the nade as well. And then the jet smoke is going to shield the vision there for a second. The shots come through. You can't quite find the kill early, but a little bit of information for Boise State to start this off.
And you got to realize the respect coming out from both teams. I mean, going for econ round, first round, and using a lot of resources. Nice shots here from the alternative fire M2. The dash forward is going to be huge. Not going to be able to get themselves anything beyond the damage initially, but getting themselves in a better position. Here comes the Omen smoke as well. Everyone's trying to use their utility to a wise effect, but we'll have to see if it's going to give them an edge here in the next couple seconds.
Yeah, and you see it's just down to the Killjoy here for FAU. Boise State still has 4 up, so they're in a good spot. They're just firing through that smoke to see if they can find a couple of shots, and eventually they do. You see the ghost coming through for Zeke onto Neo there from FAU. Boise State taking advantage of that first pistol round of the evening. Boise State, they look like, yeah, you see there comes the Marshal for Boise State and the Spectre, still a couple of ghosts. So, and on the side of FAU, you've got 4 Spectres out actually. So a little bit more buying coming through for FAU. We'll see if they want to get a little bit more aggressive here and how that Marshal's going to kind of hold them back.
Yeah, and that's the question, right? Now that Marshall's so much on a better spot, a lot of people are entertaining purchasing it around the 2nd or 4th round mark to give themselves a really nice advantage if they can get those crucial headshots down.
Yeah, and you saw Boise State thinking something similar to what we talked about, possible aggression. You saw the slow come through there from the Sage from Boise State, waiting to see if there wants to get some pushes from FAU. Nothing coming through. You did see the drone come out and get some information from that Sova from FAU. Boise State, again, just playing slow. You saw that Sage wall go up. No reason to get real pushy here. And I think that kind of shows with their buys that they weren't planning on it.
I like the ghost here. Again, a nice metered pace here from both teams before putting things into action. May end up being the strat for both teams on the attack side, waiting for that crucial 45-second mark before putting everything into motion, and really just trying to get as much information as possible so they can, again, try to make that informed decision here in the next few moments. Nice shots here, and going to land one, but going to be traded away. Going to be down to B, and I do really appreciate that quality of life change, especially from the spectator side. Going to let you know how much time's left, but more specifically what agents are where, and where that bomb is being planted.
Yeah, and you see Boise State here. They're in that 2v3, and I have to agree with you. We do have a fantastic opportunity to kind of get some really good info. You see the alarm bot going to go away there from Killjoy after some good shots. Boise State knows there's at least one back site. It's going to be a question of can they find the other kills. They get one, and they're not being aggressive, letting Boise State have to try and push into the site and just kind of holding them off.
Yeah, and a great call there as well. Marshall does pay a little bit in dividends, maybe not as much as they would like, but I still think having the ability to challenge those long rangers without having to go for that attempt to shot there, getting that more just laser beam reticle is a lot more effective and something they want to keep counting on.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we're going to continue to see some of that range coming out. It was so imperative to kind of slow those pushes down with teams that have shown a little early they want to try and be aggressive. And here comes some info from Zeke for Boise State, getting that recon dot out, seeing if he can figure out where there's going to be a push from FAU.
We'll have to see it. Again, continuing to hold out on spending some of their much-needed money. Proving to work out so well for them so far. They don't really have to purchase a lot in order to get themselves back in, but them getting that taken out was not what they wanted to have happen. Jabald holding this angle, going to find out someone shortly. Going to find someone misses the first shot. Does take a little bit of chip damage on their own. Here comes a grenade. Good call for them to back it up. Here comes that paranoia shortly, I would assume, to get them the angle to challenge. Here comes that shock dart as well. Jazz is trying to do what they can to hold this by themselves, but gets shot. Actually, a Vandal is not going to be what you want to face off with the Classic, but what can you do if you're trying to econ out? The camera, like you said, or we were talking about, super important. Shell's doing fantastic work putting that where it needs to be, getting the information over. But again, another shot here from the side of this FAU team is doing so much work. Glass will be broken. The auditory cue will be given over. Shell's is going to look for an opportunity with the Ghost. Gets one or two shots, but gets taken out here from the peak. And now it's just two members versus an entire five-man squad. Are they going to be able to do it? Pushing forward. Goes for the one shot, but unfortunately Zeke's going to be on the back side. Does not get it, and the attackers win this round as well.
Yeah, you saw the Stinger come out there with a little bit of aggressive play there from FAU. And I think Boise State, they kind of got put in a tough spot early. They had a couple of sheriffs, and it just didn't really work out for what they needed. Unfortunately, it wasn't exactly the way that Boise State wanted to see that round go. FAU did a good job of getting spiked down and just making sure that Boise State didn't have an opportunity to retake because they found a couple of picks early. And that Vandal coming out was so important, I think, because we did see early on FAU's not afraid to get a nice buy there in the third round and get some early aggression and get some big kills.
Puts himself a round up in advantage, but now it's time for Boise State. They did, of course, kind of concede that round due to the econ, and that's always the risk that you run, not being able to purchase those high-level guns. They're going to go forward with getting a little bit more in their pockets as far as firepower, and I think it's going to prove them more successful shooting through. They do know that someone's nearby. Don't know if an auditory step had been heard. But as you can see, Boise State does not know there's four members in the wing. The paranoia is going to come out, and that's when things are going to spring into action. They're going to contest this point from all sides. Here comes the wall to bump someone up, to block him out, but Jet was prepared for the wall. Is a return? No, the turnaround is going to be huge. It's 3 versus 3. Boise State doing what they can to hold things out. The remaining members of their troop are now swinging into action. They're going to find one, evening up 2 to 3 now. And now it's just the two that are on point. Do they have a stalwart enough defense? They do not. The one's behind them, and a nice draft over to the side. Spike's been planted, but so much chip damage has been given over. Boise State now just needs to get themselves to the point. The double challenge on the side will be met with the headshot. And now it's just 2 to 2. They need to be able to find this guy, but they're unable to do so. They do so. Actually, finally, go for the defuse. I don't know if they're going to split it. It's probably wise to do so. That hat is really, really good, that neural theft. And not being a top fragger, as most ciphers aren't, how good does it feel when you actually get the ultimate off?
Yeah, it's a pretty good situation. I mean, being able to get that ult in, you know, and especially when you can get it done early, you know, you see Shells is getting pretty close to it. Being able to find those early ults and get some really good information, you know, kind of help your team, especially when it's a close game. You see they're playing a fantastic team, this FAU team.
Yeah.
So any information that you can get early if you're Cypher, and I think that's probably a main reason why they're doing this, you know, they're not going to be able to just go out and kill everyone just right off bounce. This is just not going to happen. So you have to be able to get that info.
And it's interesting, too. Putting Shells on Cypher specifically is a great choice because despite even being on maybe a not combative agent, still able to get the nice gunplay opportunities off. And we've seen Shells before completely dominate the scoreboard. So I think that's a great option. Here comes, I think, the Sova ultimate. I am correct there. Going to get maybe one shot off. They've only done 2 so far that we've seen. Might not have any more ammo in the tank. Not going to use the daggers on the robot. Not even going to be seen. And that's a great
play.
option to completely avoid that, making sure that they think that maybe this isn't as defended as they initially thought. 1, 2, 3 members actually lining up, and this is exactly the moment that Jazik is looking for. There is a smoke there. They're going to maybe walk in and get some shots off. They actually walk and don't peek up to the ledge, and that's such a great call from FAU to jump up on that ledge, because you would never think they would go so bold as to jump up there after crossing under the archway.
Yeah, and I think if you're Boise State, you know, you see that smoke come down. And I believe that was their own smoke, but if you're going to push into that, you gotta be able to check everything, and you got to check those corners. You know, you can't just assume it's going to be you're the first one through. You always have to assume that there's going to be someone to the right or left. You know, in this game, it's so important to check your angles, and the headshots came through just too easily. Boise State does have some info here that they know there's at least 2 or 3 over here. They actually don't know. I don't think they realize that there's 4, so you just see Jabald with the Spectre.
Oh,
there's
goodness.
3 down for Boise State right off the bounce. He does turn and get a great 180, but it's not going to be enough. Yeah, Boise State is not handling these situations the way they need to. They're not getting those kills. That's the ult through for Jet, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
It is kind of balanced out with the Sova ult, the Hunter's Fury there going away, but for FAU, but they did win the round, so in the end, I guess it doesn't really matter. That's advantage FAU.
Great turnaround elimination as well here, knowing that the spray pattern will back you up. Unfortunately, when the remainder of your entire roster falls down there, it's hard to continue to push forward, although, of course, it's possible. It's just it's a little tough.
Yeah, when you get into that, when you get into those kind of one versus the world situations, you know, good luck. Especially against a team that's as good as this.
Yeah, they are operating on a higher amount of cylinders right now, but that doesn't mean that this Boise State squad does not have the same amount of cylinders to work with. They just might not have been kick-started initially from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I agree, and you see there's the Killjoy coming through. Killjoy ult for FAU. FAU finds a kill, but it looks like there's the Marshall trade there. So that's going to be important to come through. Finally getting a kill with that Marshall. We've been waiting to see that to kind of get a pick for Boise State, and that was a big trade. They needed to find a trade, and there's 2 on the map for them now. They do get found. Gavin from FAU does find shells, so FAU does have the advantage. They used their Killjoy, didn't find anything. It actually got destroyed. Now they've got to try and push into the site, and it looks like this is going to be an A push, trying to get this spike down early. There's a
Nice
big headshot,
flick.
too.
Fantastic flick. Gonna go for another one, and he gets the second headshot. This could be the start of something beautiful here for the Boise State squad, but we've seen FAU hold off a 2v3 before, and I think they're gonna try their best to do so. The wall bangs are trying to come out. The rest of the Boise State squad is rotating, but the spike has been put down. Another one. Go for the 4-piece. He's gonna pick it up. No, it gets stolen away, but a Marshall kill regardless. And again, an opportunity to split this up, give that crucial XP, if you will, in terms of getting that to the ultimate point. But a fantastic response from Boise State and a great recontest.
Yeah, and you know what? You've almost got ult back if you're Jet. I mean, it doesn't take very long to get that back as a duelist. They do get those pretty quick.
Headshot after headshot, absolutely. I mean, that's 3 pips right there.
Those were ridiculous shots. The first one was nice. The second one was even better, and the third one was just
That's some icing on the cake, absolutely.
chef's kiss magnifique.
Look at this.
Great shot.
It almost demonstrated every aspect of gunplay. First flick, then just predicting where they're going to be, and the third one just tracing, really.
Yeah, the flick was ridiculous, and that's the kind of stuff that if you wanna be able to run 2 Marshalls on the map, or a Marshall and an op, if you want to try and hold down those long range alleys, you have to be able to hit those shots, and that's not the way to start it for Boise State.
They do have some resources on board. Neural theft could give them a huge amount of availability to work around the map. But again, with the way that this kind of squad from FAU is congealed together almost at every juncture, it's going to be hard for them to try and find an isolated target to make up for that early Omen death.
Yeah, and the problem with Neuro Theft is, of course, you have to get that kill to get it down. And if you don't find one of the first couple of kills in the round and you go down to a 3v5, it's almost not worth using it, because you get in a situation where you know where they're at, and where they're at is all around you.
Yeah, that's not so fun. You're like, oh, they're all up, they're here. I didn't need the ult for this. I just found out by myself. Looking like Zeke trying to find a nice place to be. I do like the ability or the attempt to be flexible. Gonna get out some utility here from, of course, the side of FAU, and it's going to be just a couple more seconds, I think, before they go for a plant. We've seen this play before, smoking off that access point. It's going to force a lot of panic, maybe out of the Boise State squad, but yeah, and they were able to rotate into something that was predictable. Again, FAU kind of calling the shots here on how the pacing of this map's going so far, but despite how much they seem to be in complete control, if this round ends up going in their favor, it's only going to be one round up.
Yeah, you know what? It kind of has felt a little bit like they've kind of dominated, like you said, the pacing of this entire map. But Boise State's just won some big gunfights. You know, they took some individual performances and they made them work. There's a flawless from FAU, and it doesn't really. I mean, they go up 4-3, but you know, the buys and the creds are still going to be there for both teams. Nobody's going to have to really be too worried about what they buy from either team. Obviously, you know, you're going to get some good eco both ways because they've been able to win the rounds that they need to.
And this then becomes a question. You saw, I think, the entire side of FAU just go straight Vandal, which is a fantastic weapon in and of itself, but with how well Riot's been able to balance a lot of these other weapons, it's now becoming a question of whether or not you opt for maybe like an extra sniper, or like you were saying, the double marshal in some instances, and especially on this map for defense. Ares and Odin are a fantastic way to hold this point that we're looking at right now.
Yeah. And we have seen that from the Boise State 1 squad a lot. And I think if we look in the chat there, we do have a slight pause here. It looks like the FAU Omen was lagging out a little bit, but looks like we're back now. He's ready to roll. So after a brief delay, we're back in the game.
He does have the ultimate. Both Omens have the ultimate. I know that it's such an interesting ultimate to use because this is a very tactical game. The place that you put it is going to be instrumental. And here comes some action. They're just completely going to rush this. Everyone going over that wall that was placed down, completely negating it. And the shots are going to come out in huge. Going to go for a shot here, not really going to give themselves away until the opportunity was perfect. What a great call.
Triple.
And that's a two-piece call to 3-1. Just completely evening the odds, 2 versus 4. And a great aggressive play from the side of FAU, but going to be met with more aggression here from the side of Boise State. That's a 4-piece over here for this Jet, and going to be able to sit on that ultimate for possibly the next couple of rounds. Going for the fake fuse. No, does not even get the spike planted. Boise State, what looked to be a fantastic momentum boost from the side of FAU, completely got shut down. They met the brakes hard there.
Well, I think obviously, you can point to another huge round from Boise State. And big individual plays, a huge 4-piece coming through, almost an ace. Those were great shots, you know, just holding down angles. They knew exactly where he was. After that first kill came through, they knew he was going to be in that corner. And he just got that peeker's advantage and just, as they say, show up and shalled.
Yeah, and expertly so. He waited for a third member to commit going over the wall before he said, oh, now I get 3 as opposed to 2. Nice shots as well coming out from now. Jabal showing up a little bit here, has the ultimate, and great idea that say, you know, maybe I shouldn't be one, you know, in the front-to-front combat right now, just in case I have to res somebody. I don't want to fall.
Now you do see there's 2 ults ready for Boise State, only 1 there for FAU, and that Sage ult is going to be huge. Getting that res off, if they can make it work, that can really change the entire flow of a round. Because it's so important. If you can get someone up that's going to be a big time aggressive player, like if Jet comes back up for Boise State in this round, that's going to completely alter the momentum that FAU had been trying to build. Boise State can completely stop it there. You see Jabal's just kind of hanging out in heaven here. He knows there's a player over there. It's just going to be a question of, can he find him through that smoke?
And a great call to keep that held as far as pressure goes. It is 4 versus 4. We look at the ult economy here for Boise State. They do have 1 slight advantage, but look how many members are challenging the side. That Shells is left alone to defend. Oh, unfortunately, that Bolt was able to bait enough to look them up as opposed to going through and watching that arc specifically. Zeke's going to be in danger, going to get walked right into that storm grenade. And a lot of damage being over to the Boise State squad. And now it's just 1 versus 4. I don't know if you can test. I also don't know if you use res here, because 2 versus 4 is only slightly bettering your odds against the 4 members from FAU.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to pop your ult here. I think that that's going to be a situation where you have not very long to get this retake of site, and you have to get a spike defuse. They know where you're at.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that was a smart play there. Just kind of holding off on that ult. There's no point in blowing it in a situation where 1v4, 2v4, spike down. Can it really help you that much? I don't think so. I think that was an intelligent decision.
We even often see when you're in a 1v4 situation like that, they're most likely not going to commit all 4 members to hunt you after spike's planted, maybe 3 at the most. And you ideally want to hold a long angle or a very defensible angle to get some exit eliminations to put themselves on the back foot economy-wise. Getting yourself eliminated without trading 1-for-1 is a rough call, but you know, sometimes things happen.
This is going to be the first time since pretty early on that we've seen Boise State not go full buys. We see the frenzy coming out for Jabald here. He is going to get a little bit of aggressive. He gets a shot in, but it's not going to matter because big shots coming through for FAU. Finds, I believe it was a headshot. So obviously
Definitely was. And a nice classic as well.
Yeah, you see Boise State really kind of holding off on big buys here. They want to see if they can, you know, they're almost conceding the round. I don't think we'll see very many ults come through. Boise State's just trying to challenge everything as a team right now because they know FAU is going to have superior guns.
Yeah, and I mean, they could put themselves into almost bankruptcy by purchasing what they needed to combat this firepower provided by FAU, but I think it is a great idea to be conservative one more round in attempts to maybe get some exit eliminations, get yourself a nice padding of some money. But 8 health is going to be a real risky number of health to challenge this corner with.
Yep, it's going to be a right click and a prayer, I think. And that's going to be about all you've got because it's got to be a one tap if you want to try and find anything here. And if you're Boise State, you just kind of play it slow. There goes the Sheriff. There goes the nice double from Neo. He's just on a nice little flank. That was almost too easy for FAU, but what do you expect when it's an eco round?
When you got the eco round going for you, I mean, it's generally just trying to get as many 1-for-1s or trades as possible. Boise State does end up getting at least 1 there, which gives them a little bit of a boon to their mental state, but going down just 2 rounds isn't really insurmountable by any means, especially by the tenacity of these Boise State squads. So again, considering going for an econ round, I think is a huge strategic move and a great call there at that as well.
You see Boise State now, they are not afraid to get the buys back. We see a mix of the Vandals and the Op, and I think there was a Phantom, and that's a big Op pick. The question is, yeah, he gets taken out with the Op, and 2 down for Boise State. He invested everything he had in that Op. He was down to 0 for his eco, and now Boise State's down to a 2v4. That's tough because now FAU's gonna have a chance to pick that up. They already had 5 Vandals on the map. They have all the money in the world.
They do, and a great opportunity to actually get the 1-for-1 trade, but then that's when things started to go awry for this Boise State squad. 2 members versus 4, again, not the most ideal situation, but something that is possible. FAU's literally locking down every angle. Does not matter where it might not be ideal to challenge from. They want to cover every opportunity that Boise State can, even remotely try to enter this point.
And that was a good play here from Boise State to just kind of hold off, make someone push in heaven, just because he knows that this is not necessarily a round that they're going to win. Just try and get some of those kills, you know, save the eco a little bit. That's a good one from Zeke. That's what you needed. See if he can find another one. Doesn't look like he's going to get it. He actually is going to die from the spike, I guess.
He actually got touched by Spike there, yeah.
I didn't think that you could die from there, from the spike.
That's like one of those weird tiny spots that I guess it still extends to, which is unfortunate because at that point, yes, they were being hunted, but he may have actually ended up trading the 1-for-2 in terms of exit eliminations, which would have been incredibly ideal.
And then in the end, he only finds the 1, gets traded out by the spike, unfortunately. You see Boise State is back into eco mode again here.
Oh, they went full buy.
Looks like they did. They had a couple of classics in there early.
Oh, the Bulldog. Yeah, that's fair. Why even buy a gun though if you're going ult, right?
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Nice. Give me those back, she says. Gonna pick up maybe 1 more here.
Okay.
Does end up getting another nice set of eliminations. It's a trade of 1-for-2. On the backside, though, the rest of the Boise State squad is getting dismantled. Finally picking up another one. Zeke trying to get things evened up for them. 1 versus 2, but they do not know where the spike is, and now it's actually being planted. We know where it is. They just don't not yet. Now they do, and it's going to be a complete full map contest for the side of Zeke on this lone roster here for Boise State. And it's possible.
You got some info there, too.
Got some info. Someone that managed to peek through that spawn. Zeke maybe trying to get through this. This could be something that's very bold, but again, we've seen how successful they are in these kind of clutch situations. Pulling out the gun there was a pretty loud auditory cue. Possible to be exposed. Gonna get from shots. Oh, gets met actually.
Ray's with the ult comes through.
Every sort of moment and hope that you had just got blown up by a rocket launcher.
And if you're Boise State, you gotta be a little bit of afraid here. You know, you've had to kind of be intelligent with your buys for the last 3 or 4 rounds. FAU has just taken care of business. I mean, this was a big ult play.
What a fantastic set, though, right here. Knowing that someone's going to aggressively push forward, goes for the daggers, gets the reset, gets 2 more, goes for the full send, gets traded, but a 2-for-1, if no one had faltered on the other side of the Boise State roster, would have been huge, because that would have made it a 4 versus 3, a lot more manageable than Zeke's attempt at the 1v2.
Yeah, Zeke did put himself in a tough spot, and I don't even say he put himself in that spot.
He got put there.
Yeah, he got put there. Now I think it's going to be important. Boise State won the last pistol round, so they need to win this one as well, get a little bit of momentum back. It's going to be a big commit over here towards A site. It's a 5-man hit there through the front side of the site.
Go for the upwind as well. Trades all around the board, but Boise State's going to be the one suffering most of the casualties. Every angle, the bullets are flying from the third. 3 auto here from the side of that classic, and that's going to completely snuff out that aggressive attempt. And that's 2 times we've seen a team pressure it so aggressively to that point and have it end up in shambles.
Yeah, it was a serious aggressive play from Boise State in the side of the pistol rounds, and all of a sudden there's great momentum. Boise State was trading rounds. You know, we had mentioned it was one of those things where we felt like even though FAU was controlling the pace, Boise State was hanging right with them. That has changed significantly.
Yeah, they've definitely put their foot harder on the pedal these past couple rounds, and they are now starting to eke out a bit of an advantage. 5 rounds isn't crazy. It's definitely a challenge, though, and especially with Econing 2nd round as well on the attacker side, it's going to be a pretty tall order for them to fulfill. Information being given out, shots can be fired. Unfortunately, the double tap here from that side, double headshot, and that's not what you like to see. Challenging here with just a pistol, go for the shots as well. And the M2s can come out as much as you want, but unfortunately that rate of fire is nothing to compare with any of these rifles. So fantastic play again, holding this point incredibly well. FAU really putting this Boise State squad up against the wall and forcing them to play at their best.
Yeah, they are starting to show why they are the #1 team in the division at the moment.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is also the only team that the other Boise State squad has lost against, correct?
Yeah, you're right on. And you know, as we're coming towards the end of this map, I have to believe
it's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
It's winnable.
I have to believe that FAU can kind of maintain this pace, though. They've shown that they can. I don't know. What do you think?
It really depends, right? We do want to talk about this, but I think that something very spicy is going to happen. I feel it in my Boise State bones. Nice challenge here from all sides. Shell's actually even ended up going for some purchases as their own. Gets out the full health bar, gets one taken out on the side of Boise State, going to get a nice elimination for them and a huge advantage. Something that they need to have in terms of getting the round win. A second piece as well, going for the third one actually, but the backup's there. Now it's just one solitary player from FAU versus 4 members from the Boise State squad. And now the pace is completely going to be dictatable from the side of the Broncos. And they're going to go ahead, plan on the side that they have the power on, able to hold this angle with supremacy. Unfortunately, it's going to succumb to a little bit of a challenge, the 1v1 gunplay going over to the side of FAU. And this player is looking out for blood. He's not going to even consider saving out. He's going to go for the 2-piece. Can he go for any more? They know where he is. They just lost someone in heaven. That's going to be the call right now. The smoke's going to be given out. Give them some hesitation as a push. And they do get it, rightfully so. Getting them on the other side of that smoke, and a fantastic hold now from Broncos, making sure that recontest wasn't possible. It was looking a little dicey there for a second.
Yeah, they got found a couple of times there, but they slowed it down. They took a step back. They got the smoke up heaven. and they just made FAU kind of push. They got the spike down. They did a good job of doing what they need to do to win the round. I think that was so important. And this two-piece there, I think that we just saw there.
It's almost like a flat two-piece, really.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that there was a second there for FAU. So that was so important to find the second there and get big shots through to kind of swing the balance of the round.
Nice set of damage, and walking into that bolt is going to cause a little bit of electric damage. Not something that you want to see. Going through the smoke, the peaks are going to be huge, but it's going to be met with 2 members of Boise State.
Oh.
And Shells cannot be afforded to miss right now. He needs to continue to somehow be this duelist Cypher that we rarely see in any sort of competitive fashion. But you know, getting that ultimate on lockdown can be huge for them. 4 versus 3, using a lot of those clouds to give them some opportunity for obscurity. Of course, in response to that paranoia, trying to protect themselves as best as possible. Here comes the drone, going to be spotted out. They know someone's here in that tunnel, and maybe going to go for some shots. Unfortunately, not going to be met with a trade, and it's now going to even things up. 3 versus 3. Boise State now succumbing another loss. It's 2 versus 3. They're going to be able to try and get this challenge from every angle. It's going to even things up. 2 versus 2, but they get shot from the long haul, and now it's just Shells. The man, the myth, the legend. Are they able to hold this off? There's only a few moments left, and they do not get the opportunity to stall enough. FAU finally getting things figured out and completely contest that second point.
Yep, they did a good job. They did a really good job of just kind of playing that 1v2 really well, like we saw Boise State do the round before. And yeah, you know what? They just continue to keep their foot on the gas and keep this pace up. They're just applying defensively. They're holding back, but applying the right amount of pressure to Boise State, I think, just to kind of make this difficult for Boise State to really get a clean spike plant and defend. We haven't really seen a solid opportunity to do a full man defend for Boise State.
Normally, I'd say that any sort of time that you can strategically justify going for an econ round, great idea, go for it. When it's putting yourself on match point, if you lose this, I don't know if it's the right call. Gonna pull out the daggers. I guess that's justifiable for Jet. Don't really need a gun if you continue to get those elims. Evening things out. It's 2 down here, almost in the blink of an eye here for the side of FAU. But their recontest opportunity, as we just saw, it can be huge. The cage is going to come out. A lot of information can be getting over to the Broncos. Gonna go forward, get those shots, and barely dodges out on that op. Gonna pick it up, say, I don't really need to use the rest of these daggers, just in case. Here comes the boom bot as well. Gonna challenge here from this point. They do that shoulder jiggle that we were so affectionately calling it the last time I was here, and a thrifty. And that's a pretty huge boon to your mental. Going through the thrifty, several of your members rocking the ghost, and 1 member picking up the knives, and they managed to eke out the win. That's just got to be such a huge moralization here for the Broncos State. And on the other side of things, kind of tilting here from the FAU.
Yeah, that was important to get a nice win on your eco round, and in the process, be able to pick up that off as well. I think that's going to really help balance everything out if you're Boise State.
It's the wrong skin, though.
I know.
It's not the dragon.
I don't understand why you wouldn't put anything but the dragon skin on there.
The whole set costs like what, $200 or something?
Something ridiculous like that. It's expensive. I'm
nice
used to Call of Duty
shots
skins.
here.
They're
Gonna
$5.
go for the
Good
elimination.
shots.
And they have to get themselves out of dodge. They were found out mid-rotation before they could get themselves into a nice place to challenge. And that Raze ultimate is just devastating things here for the Broncos squad. Gonna get some more information. Camera coming out as well. It's always interesting to see Cypher and how they're able to gather proactive and offensive information. Shots here's gonna land 1 time. Gonna go for the second one, misses, and the third one will also whiff. But getting that information is exactly the name of the game. Giving as many bits of surveillance as possible so they can continue to make those informed decisions. That's the right call. They know someone's in this corner. Fantastic challenge for Shells, but he just does not fire here. He gets met with a fair splurry, if you will, of bullets. Going to continue to push forward. 3 versus 4 is a tall order, but not when you have an operator. That's pretty much an agent in and of itself. A nice challenge from Jazek. They might know that someone's here as well. They are calling for backup, which is a great call, but the spike has been taken down. Spike holder will be eliminated, and now they know someone on the backside is looking for an opportunity for a flank.
Yeah, I think Boise State's starting to kind of find some information that they needed. I don't think they want to get too aggressive here because they do have the operator. So it's going to be kind of a situation where if you're Boise State, you just hold the angles that you know. That's a big kill for FAU to really just limit the round 2, and then
the Bucky coming out.
The Bucky came through, and I believe that was a judge and a Bucky on the side of FAU coming through there in that round. Two
Huge
shotgun
respect.
kills.
Two of my absolute favorite guns. And when it comes to short-range challenges such as that, why not, right?
Yeah, and you see it looks like an operator is going to come out on the side of FAU once again. They are on map point, so if you're Boise State, you can't afford to drop anything from here on out, which is going to be, you're just going to have to force, even if the money's not there. But if you want to keep this map alive, you're going to be getting the credits anyway, so.
Nice being able to see the toes. It's always a great place to put those kind of smoke orbs, just so you can see the toes peeking through. And a great opportunity for Boise State maybe to continue to push forward. There are some resources being used here on this side. Recon Bolt will get the location revealed, and the continued ping could be huge, but I do appreciate and respect the reservation FAU is praying to hold on to, because, again, as you mentioned, they are on map point, and we need to clinch just one more thing here for the next couple rounds before they can walk away with this first round win. Nice jazz forward. Could be looking for something huge. No one's here to challenge as of right now, and Omen, the one with the spike, is going to go for the plant, going to get halfway through. They're going to go for a successful spike plant. Fantastic bait here, I think, from Shells and everyone holding mid. But now the cavalry's here and the remaining members of Boise State need to be careful. They're going to go for the spike, actual full plant. Now timer should have started a couple seconds ago. We got met with opposition. Every member of Boise State's faltering, and the map will finally go over to FAU once this gets defused. Which can happen. I'd be surprised if it wouldn't.
Yeah, finishing out there with the classic as well. That's a tough one if you're Boise State. Well, hey, don't forget, you guys, as well, you can score pro advice at esportstower.com to improve your Valorant game scene, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure, pretty much just improve your all-around game. You'll get matched up with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up, so make sure you go ahead and check them out. It's a great resource to be using. And I'll tell you what, that first map, Boise State, they looked really good to start, but I feel like they fell off there after about, what, 7-8 rounds?
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because it's such an uncharacteristic thing that led them to continue to lose some of that momentum, right? They had a lot of the right ideas, but what ended up happening time and time again was just losing out those 1v1s, those trades that just happened to be crucial for them to continue on playing that map.
Yeah, and they got into that stretch there where I think they dropped 4 or 5 rounds in a row, and they just kind of, the eco went away for them. They got in that cycle that you hate to get in, where it's like, I don't really want to force a buy right now, but at the same time, I feel like we have to force a buy, otherwise we're just going to keep dropping rounds. I think they only got 1 Thrippy the entire map.
And that's the thing, right? Because in situations like that, you can prevent that by going with a low econ build, not going full econ with pistols. Pick up maybe a Frenzy, pick up a Bucky, even pick up a Marshall in those situations, or an Ares. You're still able to continue to bring a lot more firepower than just conceding with just a pistol.
Yeah, I agree. Well, as we head into map 2 here in a second, any agent swaps, any standout players that Boise State's going to have to slow down to take care of this? I mean, guess any closing thoughts from map 1?
I'm surprised they're not opting to pick a Phoenix. I understand that Jet has such a huge amount of opportunity both to be a combative force, has that utility, and then as necessary able to pull out the daggers as opposed to purchasing a weapon. But a Phoenix challenge with the way that Boise State's playing could be huge. There are so many opportunities for them to use a Phoenix ult, go in, get the information necessary, and then get rewound back. So I'm surprised that's not something I would be surprised if that's not something they consider with how expertly FAU's contending all of these chokeholds.
Yeah, I think some flashes as well might
be
super helpful.
Or Sky,
on the side
I
of Boise
mean.
State. Yeah, there you go. Back to your tier list. Well, that's going to do it for map 1. We're going to take a short break, and we'll come back with map 2 in this best of 3 series, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back with Boise State and FAU in the NECC Valorant League.
NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure. Legendary parts for legendary wins.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Right.
Welcome back to the Boise State.
Oh,
There's
goodness.
3 down for Boise State right off the bounce. He does turn and get a great 180, but it's not going to be enough. Yeah, Boise State does have the advantage. They used their Killjoy, didn't find anything. It actually got destroyed. Now they've got to try and push into the site, and it looks like this is going to be an A push, trying to get this spike down early. There's a
Nice
big headshot,
flick.
too.
Fantastic flick. Gonna go for another one, and he gets the second headshot. It's going to be the start of something beautiful here for the Boise State squad. Something beautiful here for the Boise State squad. But we've seen FAU hold off a 2v3 before, and I think they're going to try their best to do so. The wall bangs are trying to come out. The rest of the Boise State squad is rotating, but the spike has been put down. Another one. Go for the 4-piece. He's going to pick it up. No, it gets stolen away, but a martial kill regardless. And again, an opportunity to
Boise State is back into eco mode again here.
Oh, they went full buy.
Looks like they did. They had a couple of classics in there
the
early.
Bulldog. Yeah, that's fair. Why even buy a gun though if you're going bolt, right?
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Nice. Give me those back, she says. Gonna pick up maybe one more here.
Okay.
Does end up getting another shot. Actually even ended up going for some purchases as their own. Because had the full health bar. Gets one taken out on the side of Boise State. Going to get a nice elimination for them and a huge advantage. Something that they need to have in terms of getting the round win. A second piece as well. Going for the third one, actually, but the backup's there. Now it's just one solitary player. It can be huge. The cage is going to come out. A lot of information can be getting over to the Broncos. Going to go forward, get those shots, and barely dodges out on that op. Gonna pick it up, say, I don't really need to use the rest of these daggers, just in case. Here comes the boom bot as well. Gonna challenge here from this point. They do that shoulder jiggle that we were so affectionately calling it the last time I was here, and a rifty. And
Welcome back to the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena for our coverage of the NEC Collegiate Valorant regular season. Each match getting us closer to the playoffs and hopefully a championship. Joining me on the desk tonight is Jared Baratel Castiglione.
hey, it's me.
Baratel, we saw a tough first map for Boise State, so let me just ask you this question. What needs to change? That's about as simple as I can put it. What needs to change for Boise State?
We need to have more of what we just saw, because some of those plays were, upon even further review, ridiculous.
Yeah, those were pretty ridiculous. Well, hey, just a reminder of our rules tonight for those of you who tuned in a little late. This is the Valorant NECC League. This is a 9-week series, excuse me. There's 30+ teams in the league. It's a best of 3 each week. The maps are set each week, but the home team does get to pick which side they want for the first and third rounds, and the away teams do get to pick for the second game, for the second map there. So kind of creates a nice little dynamic that we don't see in a lot of other esports. We like that. The Broncos are really highly rated. Both of these teams, as you see, both Boise State teams are in the Champions Series. It's kind of fun to see 2 just elite teams coming out of Boise State. We are with Boise State 2 tonight. They are playing Florida Atlantic, and You mentioned it, Baratel. This Florida Atlantic team's pretty dang good.
They're pretty dang good. They've already taken out one of the opportunities for the Bronco Team 1 to be unstoppable, and they're looking at trying to close it out again right now.
Yes, they are. And as you see here on the screen, it is Boise State. It is Florida Atlantic University. It is the Valorant NECC. We're hopping over into map 2 here in just a second. I don't know. Do you think Boise State, I mean, we talked about they need some change. I'm not 100% sure what this map 2 is yet. We don't even know yet, but agent swaps maybe, we saw Astra kind of being taunted there for a moment on the side of FAU. Do you think we see something like that coming through, or we stay with a pretty standard set?
I would think that FAU is going to stick with what's already worked so well for them. I mean, them not only taking an early lead by, small increments at first and then completely making the gap unbridgeable here from the Boise State squad, that we're going to stick with things that work in that regard. But it is possible that they're going to anticipate the Bronco, roster switching things up agent-wise, which then can lead to them making roster swaps or, agent changes. It can be a never-ending circle of what can be considered, but we'll have to see. Haven coming up here. Most of what a lot of these teams have practiced the highest amount on, and rightfully so. It's a very competitive map. It's unique in the sense that it's the only one named Haven, along with other things. But as we do kind of look at what is being hovered in this draft, if you will, sticking to looks to be the same from both sides. I mean, not really a lot of changes, and disappointingly, no Sky yet.
I have a feeling that every week until we see Sky, we're going to be hearing from you about wanting Sky.
I'll be in the chat even like, oh, no Sky, no wonder why you had such a hard time.
You know what? I respect that. I respect sticking for what you want to see. Yeah, it is a pretty similar setup for both sides here. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how that plays out. You see Boise State is going to be defending first, and FAU is going to be on the attack. We're almost locked in, almost ready to go here. And it looks like that is 5 locked in on both sides.
Wow.
I don't believe we saw a Cypher from FAU last time, so that is a change, yes?
That is a change. And we also don't see any Sage at all on either team, which is an interesting change as well. It almost seems as if the pacing is going to be that kind of full throttle, high octane, aggressive play style that we've seen from, teams that maybe we've seen before in the past, because there's no way to kind of reset health values now. Not even considering the Phoenix to be able to heal themselves. Yeah. The only way that they could have healed, they don't even have an opportunity. No Reyna, no anything.
Yeah, there is no heal, and I do think this is the map where I think that teleport from Omen is going to be so important, just because this map is so big.
Yeah, but how many times do you teleport as Omen and don't go Heaven?
That's fair.
Like every time they're just like, I'm just gonna go Heaven.
That's fair.
Okay, hold on. Don't pull that back up and flame me for my picks, okay?
That's why they did it too.
It's like, hey, by the way, just to remind you, Sky's not in this game. Thank you, production. I appreciate it.
I mean, they're just going to keep reminding you until you stop talking about it, which is never. So you're going to see that tier list from now until the end of time.
This is a map that both Boise State team rosters have a huge amount of success on in practice. So this could be something that they ended up picking the side on. But this is a fantastic map for either team. And it looks to be that a fair trade is going to go already over to the side. Unfortunately here, both sides, both teams suffering. One's casualty. C-Long going to be challenged here in the long run. The pistol is just going to be cascading down that C-Long hallway, but no success. Looks like we may need to consider switching the names, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong because I'm me, but they are on the attack. Boise State trying to do what they can to get themselves in a man advantage, but the way that this FAU team is flowing between A and C so well, could not give them a really good edge to find a man not being able to cover. Nice challenge here for the side of Boise State, but we met with a 1-for-1 trade, making it a 2 versus 3. No, 3 versus 2 here in their favor. Shots will be given out, and this could be a huge moment where that healing could pop off. Getting that Jet, your fantastic frontline damage dealer, back up to 100% health in that first round could be huge.
Yeah, Boise State doing a good job.
Spike being planted. Paranoid going to come out as well. Knife's going to be given for the extra movement speed. Trying to make as little noise as possible, and a great call, although I don't think you had to be that careful with that. Jet going to go for the high ground play. That air burst coming out as well, making sure that obscurity will be in their favor. They knew that someone's in that corner somehow, as Sinbad is now left alone, 1 versus 3. And as you can hear, the beeping starting. Going to go for shots on the toes, but will be watched in that draft forward. Is going to be huge. Here comes that shock dart, 31 HP remaining.
There goes the spray. He's just kind of conceding at this point. I think there's not much
I
to
might
do.
go for an exit elimination. I don't know. Recon Bolt going to be given out as well. Information aplenty. And he gets met with a pistol to the hood because he's wearing a hood.
Yeah.
Don't know if he has a face under there, actually.
I think I think it's cybernetics.
You think he's a robot?
I do.
I think he's a demon.
What if he's a robot demon?
A robo demon. That'd be cool.
It's kind of intimidating.
Now, look at the way that things have kind of changed. Normally, and as we saw in the first round, Boise State got kind of a little bit pushed down in terms of econ early in the map. And it does look like that could have been the opportunity for them to capitalize on. But as we just saw, FAU is completely confident in their gameplay. They're actually buying out the second round.
Yeah, they are. And on the side of Boise State, I think what's going to be so important is we saw that Marshall come out again for Boise State. Finding a way to hold down some of these long angles that we see on this map is going to be critical. That Marshall's going to have to do some serious work if Boise State really wants to kind of put their foot on the gas and pull away.
Spectre's such a cool gun.
It really is.
Nice spray pattern to be manageable. And it's going to be met with a 1 trade.
And then this
Boise
Boombot's
State going
gonna do
up
work.
as well. Boombot will be given out, pushing forward. They knew that someone was in the hallway, tried to get there in time. It's not going to be up to the rest of the squad to figure out the best way of attacking. They pantomime A, and they're going to go long C again. Having that Marshall, great call. They have the opportunity to challenge these long angles. Unfortunately, the judge coming out now. Judgment's been made, and guilty will be the verdict. Ball trying to contest
Took my
things.
pun right out of my mouth.
I'm good at puns sometimes, and these teams are good at shooting. Going to contest things out 3 versus 4. The opportunity for FAU to come in with the man advantage is huge, but the obscurity will give them enough time to find a member out and alone, and more obscurity will be the name of the game. Clouds everywhere. Vision blocked and shots being fired randomly, haphazardly, if you will. Marshall will be traded away for these short-term engages, and I think that's the right call. Shells very dangerously close to death. Shots will be given out, unfortunately, making it 2 versus 3, and having to hold the C point with so many angles of challenge could be a tall order for them. Nice dash sideways, but going to be dashed into the waiting arms of more bullets, and shots everywhere. Frenzy, Spectres alike will actually secure a round win for FAU. And I think you got to be pretty confident knowing that, yeah, they went into the buy round here, questioning whether or not investing some of that crucial econ into round 2 was a bad idea. But they said, no, we got this, and it pays off.
That is confidence in your ability to play a map.
That is confidence.
When you can go into a round early in a map and invest some serious change and come out with, I mean, an opportunity to really just kind of put the pedal to the metal. You know, Boise State's kind of stuck back. You see some.
We don't see much, and this is exactly the huge criticism that we're seeing in here in that confidence level, right? Boise State is either econing for strategic value or for, you know, maybe a lack in confidence in comparison. Maybe it's brazen here from FAU, but it's working out well because they have that firepower. Another judge going to pick up a 2-piece. And this, again, is going to be huge. Able to dash forward a 3 for 0 and an instant flawless. Again, economy would usually dictate that they didn't have an advantage, but I did not expect things to go that swiftly.
No, and when you're trying to have an eco round and you come out with not only losing the round, but not finding a kill the entire time, you just lose any opportunity to really try and recover.
Judge Jet's such a cheese thing to do, though.
It really is almost unfair. It's almost unfair because you can just run at people.
True.
But I can't stand playing against the judge, so I mean, I have no comment there.
So if we were to do a tier list of weapons, shotguns are my S tier weapons, so I'm very sorry.
They would be on the bottom / not on my tier list, so.
Trying to go for some opportunity. A 5 deep push here to C long. Could result in a huge man advantage, especially if they go with a rush to spike plant.
And that's
they are going to pick up
doing.
the one lone defender. But now the bells of alarm have rung, and FAU's calling and answering the call. They better get this spike planted now. And they do so. All they have to do now, they don't have to expose themselves to the entry points for FAU. They just need to hold the angles conceding onto the spike. They do not need to put themselves in any sort of weird position. They know that eventually FAU has to come through any one of these angles to challenge, but they don't need to put themselves in harm's way.
I think that that's something that's been missing from this Boise State team, is that serious sense of aggression, and I love it. They got right into the site, and you see there's a big kill from
line them up. Boise
State.
State's on a
There it
firing
is.
rampage, only losing 1 there, trading 1 for 5. I think they'll take it, and they get a spike plant as well. More points, more money, and now they got a full arsenal on board.
Yeah, they needed that. You needed to get your eco back on track. They kind of risked it. They said, you know what, we're just gonna go for it. We're gonna buy a little bit here after a tough eco round. We're gonna buy, and it worked out almost the exact same way that it worked out for FAU.
Right.
And in the round before, you know what? They had the money, and they said we're gonna risk it, and they got what they needed. Now they are in a situation where they didn't really have to buy anything that entire round.
Yeah, and this just speaks volumes to how well prepared both of these Boise State squads is. Both of them going blow for blow with such a heavy combatant as FAU is really impressive so far.
Yeah.
Shots going to be given out. We'll give a man advantage again to both sides. Boise State losing 1 member early in the round, but not something that they can kind of be malleable with, if that makes any sense. They're very flexible in the sense that they are willing to change their completely course of action if necessary when they suffer an early casualty. Zeke will now back up a little bit of the play here from Shells. They're going to continue to challenge both A short and A long. U-Haul could be a dangerous opportunity for them to succumb to a little bit of damage. We'll have to see here in the next few moments, though.
Yeah, you see Boise State, they're stuck in this 3v5. They know the op's out, and on a map like this with serious peak lanes, the op is going to be so powerful for FAU. Boise State, they have to try and find a way to break into one of these sites and get it down without getting opt out. And when you're in a 3v5, FAU has someone at every site. There's going to be info coming through. That opportunity to be aggressive that we talked about just isn't there now.
30 seconds
Yeah,
left.
and it's almost
There's the break,
getting
though.
exit kills, and that actually will be committed here from the side of Shells. Information given over. This could be enough for them to make an informed decision. Just 1 member on C. Looks like that might be their attacking point, but now it's been whittled down to 2 versus 5. Make it 1
There's
versus
the
5,
op.
and it's just this one Omen versus the world. They had the right idea, but when it ended up coming push to shove, did not get the eliminations that they needed moving forward.
And I think Boise State, they had an opportunity. If he would have peeked that corner right away, I think he would have had an opportunity to maybe chow the Omen there and get an opportunity to get the break and get away from where that op was going to be. But I have to kind of question, was the neural theft the right play there when you're already down 3v5? I guess it was 3v4.
I mean, coming from a Cypher man, you got to take this man's word, right?
I don't know if you want to take my word about anything, Valorant. If you've seen me play, I mean, I wouldn't have invested my neural theft right there. We'll just say that. You see the boombot coming out here and getting found, so that's a little bit of information for Boise State. The raise grenade coming out for a little trade, but it's not going to do much. A little bit of damage coming through, and the boombot for distraction
4
there.
health remaining. They know that someone's there, but they're committing so many resources to it, and they're given the opportunity, an actual 2-piece given over to this player. Raze picking up huge amounts of dividends just for committing a lot of their resources here in this A-short challenge hallway.
And the knives out, too,
Knives
for
are
Boise
out,
State.
not reference to the movie. Although, great movie. See what kind of opportunities this Boise State squad has to make this opportunity of victory a sequel moving forward. We might see an early credit screen.
Yeah, they gotta find a way to come back here. They're down 3v5, and I come back to that early play. It was a duel of the raises, and
Oh, he missed a shock dart, unfortunately.
yeah,
too.
that's tough. If you're Boise State, everything kind of seems to be falling apart a little bit this round. They are going to be 3 pushing here. They're going to be trying to get this over to C. There's the draft, and there's the smoke coming out, and it's just a big 3-piece there coming through from the FAU team. Quick, flawless, and all of a sudden, all that econ that we were so excited about from Boise State didn't really work out, and they invested the ult early on too, and it didn't come through with
Yeah,
a
a
single
few
kill.
abilities were used there, and ended up just being superior gunplay. Ekes out the win. We always do hear how certain maps are attacker or defender favored, so we'll end up seeing if that is the rhyme or reason for success for FAU so far. But again, 2 rounds, that is kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back when it comes to these tiebreakers, which means that even Rye understands that 2 rounds is really not that many.
Yeah, it's definitely by no means over. It's not
Operators
good
is
though.
doing work.
Yeah, when you're getting found by that op, That's tough. And you've seen Boise State trying to make some big plays coming through into mid there. That was crazy
slick.
back play there. That was pretty cool. I thought it was just going to be across the door, but instead it got into sight. But unfortunately, it gets found by Sova. And boy, Florida Atlantic is just winning all of the gunfights. They're not losing.
It almost feels as if Boise State has, again, the right idea. And when things go well for them, it is for a few moments. I think, again, coming from my brilliant expert perspective, there's moments of stagnation with the way that they're playing, right?
Yeah.
They have momentum. They gain themselves momentum within the round. But then holding off for a second to continue with their play, their momentum forward ends up costing them because it's just met with just as much force and equal momentum from FAU. And
shots from Shells,
again,
though.
here's how it goes. This is how things start for Boise State. We're seeing if they're able to continue to push forward, but that operator is definitely putting the brakes. They're almost reaching into Boise State's car and pulling that E-brake immediately.
Although you see an operator coming out from Boise State as well. So, I mean, it's a 4v4, and unfortunately, there goes Shells down from the op from FAU. So, Boise State, they do have an op on the map, but it gets found. That's brutal. That's brutal. When the smoke goes away and comes down to who's got the quicker trigger finger, unfortunately, Florida Atlantic's going to win that duel, though you're going to get a plant here if you're Boise State. Spike's going to go down, and you see there's going to be a TP away. Right as the shots started to come into him, so he just got away with his life.
Here comes the shots out. Gonna get found out from U-Haul, I do believe, and Heaven's gonna be all but held. A 1 versus 3 situation in at least a point so far. Gonna be 1 versus 4 shortly. Gonna go around the corner. Unfortunately, not able to get as much damage as they wanted to, and a defuse will come out here from FAU. What's interesting is you can see how close these teams are through double smoke. Both jets, both equipped with operator, knew exactly where the other jet was. It's just a millisecond difference in terms of who's pulling the trigger first.
Yeah, and unfortunately here, that could come down to a situation where it is about who's got the quicker trigger finger, and it also could just come down to, you know what, we're in a situation where right now everything's online. Ping and stuff does come into that kind of a thing too.
Please don't blame lag for it, okay? Come on.
Hey, I'm just trying to give the benefit of the doubt.
These are dedicated servers where somehow competitively they can match the ping. It's all balanced. Marshall's coming out here in double, but C-Long is not the proving ground here for the Boise State squad, as 3 members here from FAU just completely swing into motion, hold that very defensively. The Ghost will be what's to be challenged here, and B point and a flawless will be given over again to the side of FAU.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things about this FAU team is when they win rounds, they're not winning them by 1v1s, 2v1s, kind of like how Boise State was doing it. They're winning it in convincing fashion, and it's not even just about the fact that they're staying with a convincing win. It's they're keeping everything from last round. They're not having to buy very often.
And that's the thing, right? They're able to almost assimilate a dragon's hoard of gold right now. And they don't want to relinquish it, such as a dragon.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You see the frenzy coming out for Boise State here in window mid, and he's going to get found.
Banged. The wall bang headshot, not a fun place to be. Jazak trying to find some opportunity to get some of those precious pips for their ultimate, but it does not look like they have an angle anywhere, resulting in just the drone being the first frontal opportunity to push forward. Yes, this amount of smoke could be huge, but you got to question if the way that they're playing is kind of being reserved until they have information, why is there not a breach on their team?
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. That would be
or
another...
the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Or the Sky.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit coming into the map, and you see there's another big win from FAU. They're gonna get the defuse off. They're gonna go up 8-2, and Boise State, they got to turn it around now. You can't just continue to feed eco to FAU, although
brought it to 2 members. In contrast to the way they've been playing so far, they were able to get themselves Very close, or close as they've been recently in the past couple of rounds to completely wiping out the FAU roster. But again, it could be a question as to what's drafted, because yes, the smokes are big in the sense that you physically obscure vision, but that does not prevent anyone from being able to shoot where you assume someone's going to be. You still are able to make an informed guess, especially in C long or even that B main gate entry point. You're able to just shoot, they're probably going to be somewhere in here. If you had a blind, a flash on, you know, maybe a Phoenix, there's possibly some other character, I can't remember her name, she comes from Australia, who has flashes as well.
Oh, is that maybe Sky?
Sky? They could offer so much more of an opportunity because you actually disable completely the person that you're blinding from seeing. The daggers will be committed, but they will fly into the waiting arms of the guns from FAU, and everything is falling apart. Boise State getting themselves a few crucial early eliminations, but will be met with such heavy opposition, and the operator will be the period in the round. Now going up 9-2, and it's starting to get a little bit scary here for the Boise State squad.
Yeah, you saw the operator, you saw the Odin coming out for FAU. They are in a situation now where they're buying whatever they want, and they're really not even worried about the price tag. They bring it up to the register if they like it.
They got their tax return, they got the stimulus check. They're padded right now.
Yeah, they really are. And when you see multiple people with plus 8,000 creds, and one of those people also already has the operator, you know the eco's there for your team no matter what. The eco is there. You see, again, Boise State, they love this push over towards A. The boombot's going to come out. It's not going to find anything. And you see, here comes the ult as well. It picks up a kill.
One.
That's a great start, but it just gets found. You saw the Hunter's Fury, I think, coming through there from FAU, and all of a sudden now, it's back to a 1v4. We've seen this story, you know, time and time again.
Nice shots here on top of the boxes, but that is, I do believe, an Odin, and that will be a lot to be able to combat with. Now the swap happens, and here's where Boise State can make or break this. This is the opportunity for them to put to rest the debate on whether or not this is a defender-favored map, because if they're able to turn it around, it could be just off the piggyback of the defending position.
Yeah, and it's all going to start with winning this pistol round. It's going to be so critical that Boise State wins this pistol round. If you go down another round here and you give FAU even more eco, you know, as we hit the switch here, and if they win this round and they're only 2 away from victory, it's going to be tough for Boise State to come back. So you got to win this pistol round, and it has to be now.
We always have to kind of tiptoe with saying things with certainty with this caster desk being around. It possesses magical powers to completely turn around what you say. Here comes utility. No damage going to be found, but maybe information will be given. But look at the plethora of FAU members, and they're all challenging B right now. 1 here versus 5. He's actually going to be able to pick up 1, pick up 2 on the backside. And now things are looking spicy here for the Boise State squad. They know where 3 members are. Fantastic job from the Rays, giving both eliminations and information. And now it's up to the rest of the squad to work with it. They're going to be able to walk into things blind. Shots are going to be exchanged everywhere. It's 1 member versus 2. Can Boise State stop this progression? Stop the momentum here from FAU. They're not able to do so just yet. 1 shot will secure it. And now, finally, Boise State picking up a round win after losing 8. This could be the sign of something beautiful.
There's the pistol round for Boise State that they desperately needed to get this started off.
Scary enough, though, it's not as much of an advantage as you would think, because FAU is completely willing to lose a round, pistol or otherwise, and completely go with a buy, especially with how much of a round advantage they have.
Yeah, and they can kind of force right now. And it got really scary there. You know what? The Sinbad.
Sinbad is doing work.
Yeah, that was crazy. He almost clutched that. The shots got a little shaky there at the end from Boise State.
He double M1, M2'd, and Jet, unfortunately, Jazik could not do anything against it. Here comes the Marshal. You got to start firing shots, my dude. Goes for 1. I don't know if that did land. He traded 13 of his health for it. Now 20 of his health will go by the wayside, but I don't know if it's a worthy enough trade. Damage will be given over. It does end up looking like they did get a significant amount of damage, and as we kind of criticize, no healing on either side of each squad. Could be a huge opportunity for Boise State to get things traded up, but now it's 4 versus 4. We don't really know where things are happening, but the spike has been planted, and this forces Boise State into a flurry of action. They know ideally it's on on B. They just don't know a corner just yet. Gonna go for a peek. Shells gonna look for an opportunity to contest. It's actually not where they think it is just yet. Gonna go forward, met with a corner challenge here on the side. Gonna know where they are. They're gonna go for a shot. They crouched into it, and now Boise State showing the kind of similar way that the rounds were dominated by FAU. Turned up 4 versus 0, and that's what we like to see.
Yeah, Boise State, they got those 2 wins early. And, you know, we kind of talked about if Boise State wanted to turn it around, it had to start with a big pistol round win. And this defense side. Sorry, what'd you say?
I just saw a sheriff.
You know what? We've seen that a couple of times in the previous map. We saw some sheriffs coming out for Boise State. I like the play, especially on a map like this, if you don't want to try and buy anything too crazy, but you want to win some of those mid-range gunfights without, you know, getting too eco.
That is.
Yeah, there's 2.
There's 2 of them. Wait,
3.
There's 4.
4?
I don't know if the top one's a classic or a sheriff, but if they're all sheriffs, that means that FAU wants to fight.
I kind of...
They're looking like they're all going A short, A long, and A short with these sheriffs. Could be so much damage popping out here. It's going to be 1 versus 2. Going to get a nice elimination, making it 1 versus 1. Not necessary. The grenade will hold things off for the moment, and smokes are going to be given everywhere. It's hard to breathe in this area of the map, but here comes the shot. The sheriff with the headshots. Headshots are going to go everywhere, and now it's 2 versus 3. The dust hasn't even settled yet. Here comes that cage. Here comes the drone. Here comes the boom bot. Here comes every piece of technology you can see. And now it looks like it's going to be 1 versus 2. They have yet to plant the spike, though. They don't know where it is. No, it is planted. The beeping has been, of course, a little bit quieter than me, so I couldn't hear it at first. But look how much utility this Omen has. And VAL has so much opportunity to go for paranoids, go for smokes. Has the teleport still on board. Maybe be able to get themselves in a place of high ground, but the beeping's going to be incessant. They're able to get themselves around the corner. Going to be found out, but actually get taken down. And that's a reset of Econ that we did not like to see, actually.
Yeah, Boise State looked like they might have had some momentum going, but FAU did a good job of shutting that down. They pulled the sheriffs.
The sheriff strat. Hashtag sheriff strat.
Yeah, that was an interesting play from them. They did a good job of hitting the shots, though. Couple of headshots coming through, and that's tough to defend against. It was early in the round. They got aggressive with the sheriffs. They found some of those opening kills. Boise State had to try and get a retake there towards the end, and it's brutal to get a retake when it's low numbers.
Low numbers, and yeah, the 1v2 going into a position where they're already set up. Super dangerous, both sides of that box being challenged, and that meant that it was almost impossible for our guy, but not yet. 1-for-1 trade here. Both trading here with as much as they can. Information being given out. And again, that is the name of the game for success for Boise State. Chip damage being given, 11 health missing now. And 2 pieces here for the side of Boise State. The puzzle's coming together. They only have 2 more pieces to fill, but these are those ones that don't really look to fit anywhere. And a nice challenge here from the side of FAU. Will result in a spike plant. A long challenge will actually mean that it's another 1v2 situation. Jax needs to pop off with this operator, or this could be all that Boise State wrote for the evening.
Yeah, they've got to win this here. They go on to match point. They invested in the op. It's going to be a question of, can you find the kills early? You don't want to put this off. You don't want to be trying to chow everything early. And unfortunately, Sinbad was ready to roll with that Phantom. Just found the kills and put Boise State in a situation where 1v2 with the op is kind of tough.
1v2 with the op is dangerous, right? And to be completely honest, it's not impossible, but you got to be the first one on the draw. We've seen so many times so far, Boise State kind of struggling with being in these gunfights the successor, and it's definitely cost them a little bit of an advantage. The rest of it seems to be that of just high momentum, high octane gameplay that is just, they're unrelenting in this pressure and this kind of aggression, and this FAU squad wants to close it right now.
Yeah, they would love to just finish this off. Yeah, I think there you see there's one out for the side of Boise State.
Judges.
Oh, he gets some info, and he does find a kill, so there you go. There's some early, and I think there's a second one out for Boise State as well. So Boise State electing to go with some shotguns here, and you see as well the Marshall out for Boise State. You see there goes the judge, though. It's off the map now.
Oh, there it goes. But no, there's another one. Jabal actually has one as well. More judges, more power. It's going to be an even trade back and back again, blow for blow. Both of these teams playing to such a high echelon of skill, and it's literally a round per round. Take away the map, each round is a nail biter in terms of pressure and advantage. Here comes that spike being planted. Jabal knowing that they're somewhere around here. And that Omen smoke is just going to be a pesky little mosquito preventing them from getting these shots here on lock. 33 health, though, is not a comfortable amount to challenge with, but with it being do or die, you have to do something.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's info out everywhere for FAU. They know exactly where they are. The siege above goes down, and Zeke. So now it's just down to a 1v2, and that is going to do it. Unfortunately, that's going to take the map, and that's going to take the series for FAU.
What a great combatant, though, right? FAU really proving that they deserve to be in the same tier, completely putting a huge stop to the progression both for Boise State 1 and Boise State 2 squads, and a fantastic combatant, one that we'll most likely see again in the future, and we look forward to it.
Yeah, they've set a benchmark. You know, they've kind of put it out there to Boise State, who is probably one of the better, challenge teams here for FAU to, say, hey, we want our shot at the title. So you're gonna have to find a way to beat that FAU team. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of tough. So as we look to kind of close it out here after this, quick 2-0 from FAU, you have anything to kind of take away outside of the fact that FAU's the benchmark?
As much as they think that they walked away with the complete win, they may have won the battle. They have yet to win the war. Boise State, especially as a program, is such a dominant roster, and that's for a multitude of reasons. But one of the key reasons is the fact that we take our losses and completely use them to craft our ability into a higher echelon. So by forcing us to take the L, you actually given us a lot more tools to take future W's. So thank you.
I like that. That's a really good mindset to
adapt and overcome, baby. That's the motto.
I like it. I like it a lot. Well, that's going to do it from us here at the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. It was a fun match of Valorant, Boise State versus FAU. Unfortunately, FAU did come out on top. Make sure you join us every Wednesday for some NECC Valorant. We're going to be back again hopefully next week with some more high-level Valorant from the championship division of the NECC Boise State. Of course, with 2 teams up in that division. So we're working towards those playoffs. We're working towards those championships. We're looking forward to spending some more time with you all. See you next week.
Again right now.
Yes, they are. And as you see here on the screen, it is Boise State. It is Florida Atlantic University. It is the Valorant NECC. Does have the advantage. They used their Killjoy, didn't find anything. It actually got destroyed. Now they've got to try and push into the site, and it looks like this is going to be an A push, trying to get this spike down early. There's a big headshot too.
Fantastic flick. Gonna go for another one, and he gets the second headshot. It's going to be the start of something beautiful here for the Boise State squad.
Boise State is back into eco mode again here.
They went full buy.
Looks like they did. They had a couple of classics in there.
Oh, the Bulldog. Yeah, that's fair. Why even buy a gun though if you're going full, right?
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Nice. Give me those back, she says. Gonna pick up maybe one more here.
Okay.
Does end up getting another. It can huge. The Cade's going to come out. A lot of information can be in over to the Broncos. Going to go forward, get those shots, and barely dodges out on that op. Going to pick it up, say, I don't really need to use the rest of these daggers, just in case. Here comes the boom bot as well. Going to challenge here from this point. They do that shoulder jiggle that we were so affectionately calling it the last time I was here. And a thrifty started beautiful here for the Boise State squad, but we've seen FAU hold off a 2v3 before, and I think they're going to try their best to do so. The wall bangs are trying to come out. The rest of the Boise State squad is rotating, but the spike has been put down. Another one! Go for the 4-piece! He's going to pick it up. No, it gets stolen away, but a martial kill regardless. And again, an opportunity to getting these shots here on lock. 33 health, though, is not a comfortable amount to challenge with, but with it being do or die, you have to do something.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's info out everywhere for FAU. They know exactly where they are. The siege above goes down, and Zeke. So now it's just down to a 1v2, and that is going to do it.